What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Vigilante. You're watching the Vigilante Effect. And if you're not aware, something has come up with Infinity Ward and Call of Duty in the last couple of days, actually in the last last week or so, where a YouTube video was posted by a Muslim individual who he's a Muslim gamer who has about like 60,000 subscribers, or so basically he has a lot of influence. And he posted a video showing that there's something in the map Favela which is insulting to Islam. Now the video shows a picture frame that's on top of a filthy toilet in a dirty bathroom in Favela, and on the picture frame it says, "Inna Allahu jamilun yuhibbul jamal." Verily, Allah, God, is beautiful and He loves beauty. Now this, if you're not familiar with the Islamic religion, is something that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, has said. And it's something that's sacred to the Muslims. And also what's sacred to Muslims is that we don't put God's name in a bathroom. We don't take God's name in a bathroom because that's the place where we go for our resting. And you already know what happens in the bathroom. It's just not a respectful place to have God's name. Even the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, when he used to have a ring, they used to say messenger of God. And when he used the bathroom, he would hide that ring because of the respect that he has for God and for Allah. And Muslims don't say the name of God in the bathroom. As a Muslim, when you do anything, you would say in the name of God. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God. As Christians used to say back in the day as well. And as Christians these days also say. But the one place that you don't say it is the bathroom. That's the only time that you don't say it. And in Islam, there's a prayer for almost everything. When you look in the mirror, there's a prayer. When you walk inside the bathroom, also, there's a prayer. And the only time that prayer is not said is in the bathroom. The prayer for the bathroom is said right before you go into the bathroom, or right before you go to take care of your business in the bathroom. So my point in mentioning this is that to a Muslim, it is very disrespectful to have God's name in a bathroom. Especially Allah, especially if you have a specific statement of the Prophet Muhammad, especially if it's something that's from the Quran, or especially if it's something that's specific to the religion. Now, some might argue this is just being overly sensitive, but in reality, this is something that's common to almost every culture. Whenever we want to insult somebody, we reference them in something in reference to the toilet, or something that's in reference to feces. Feces is not generally seen as a respectable thing. And someone is talking nonsense, people sometimes say you're talking blank. Not the act of using the bathroom is disrespectful, but you can use it as a disrespectful means to others. You know, you can defame somebody with feces. I remember there was someone who went and used the toilet on top of his boss's desk as a way to say, "I quit." That's very disrespectful. He's obviously pissed off and he's trying to insult his boss. And this is in America. I don't know why people are thinking it's very far-fetched. It's not very far-fetched. The only thing would be that it's just a video game. And I'm going to get into that. Now, what happened was the Muslim community came together. And I wasn't actually even aware about this. I didn't even realize this because it's something that you won't recognize. It's such a small detail that I wasn't personally paying attention to. But it doesn't necessarily mean that someone was just looking to be offended and they found it and they got offended. That's not what it is. Because the nature of Call of Duty is that they have Easter eggs lying around all over the place. So maybe someone was looking for an Easter egg, or maybe someone who was very in tune with their Arabic, they looked at it and realized what it was saying. Realized that it looks like it's Arabic, then took a little closer look, and then realized that it was actually saying a statement of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So once again, the Muslim community came together, and an individual posted a video online to Activision, basically stating that or to Infinity Ward, saying that they will no longer buy any of the games, and they will boycott buying any Call of Duty games or any Infinity Ward games if they don't patch, this is exactly what he said, if they don't patch Favela to remove that frame from the bathroom because it's disrespectful to the Muslim religion. Now initially when I found out about this, I was infuriated. Because I thought it was something that was intended as an insult. Because why would you have it in Favela, which is not even, it's completely out of context. In the game, it represents Brazil. It's not an Arab-speaking country. There's no reason for it to be there, but then you choose to have it there inside the bathroom of all places. But then I walked around Favela and explored by myself, and I realized that they actually have it in different areas of the map. So I thought maybe it's not really intended to be insulting. I don't know if it is or if it isn't. I don't know the intention of the individual who did that. but it's definitely inconsiderate to the religion and to the culture of Islam and to the culture of Muslims all around the world. And Activision responded by removing the map completely. Now, I would anticipate the reason why Activision responded so quickly is because of the fact that so many Muslims around the world play Call of Duty, and they would take a huge hit if Muslims just altogether stopped playing. And Muslims span from all over the world. Muslims are not limited to the Middle East. Muslims can be white Americans, they can be Spanish, they can be Arabic, they can be Pakistani, they can be Asian, they can be Chinese, they can be whatever. Anyone can be a Muslim. So Activision would be definitely affected by that. So anyway, there's been 5 major points that I've seen all around in so many different videos. And it seems that the consensus is that it's wrong that they've removed the map. People are obviously upset about that. People are upset that they removed the map. Even though it's a really old game, nobody plays the game anymore. A few people play the game. But anyway, 5 major points that people have said, and I'm going to tackle. The first point is this goes against free speech. The removal of that frame, or the removal of Favela, is Activision basically giving in to going against free speech. Number 2, killing in video games is already offensive, so why don't we complain about that? Number 3, why didn't they take out the airport mission? There's an airport mission in Modern Warfare 2 where you kill innocent civilians as a terrorist. The 4th point is that it's just a video game, meaning it's not something they should be taken seriously because it's just a video game. Number 5, why didn't they take out noob tubes and explosives and things that people actually cared about than something so small as a picture frame? I'm going to go step by step. And I don't expect everyone to agree with me, but I feel it's okay to disagree as long as you have a reason for disagreeing. For the first response, this goes against free speech. Let's examine this. So it's against free speech to exercise free speech, to criticize another person's insulting free speech. I know this is a little confusing, just think about that. But why is it against free speech when someone simply exercised their free speech to disapprove of it? All that the community said was that they will not buy Infinity Ward games if they don't do something about the insult. That is the most pure free speech and freedom to do what you want with your money as can be. They're not hurting anyone, threatening anyone, or doing anything illegal. They simply said, we will not buy your games anymore if you don't apologize and patch the insult. The fact that speech is free doesn't mean there isn't a consequence for failing to keep its responsibility. If this was something which spoke about your mother specifically, why would you continue to support them financially if they will continue to use the money to insult her? Just as your mother is real to you, God is more real to Muslims and other religions. Now let's look at the real world where free speech has been blocked. And I'm not just talking about general legal and institutionalized examples, like a teacher can't curse at kindergartners, that would be verbal abuse, or that you can't beg on a public subway, that would be illegal by MTA standards, or take photography on a subway, again that's illegal, or that you can't speak in a classroom while the teacher is talking, you can get penalized on your report card, or that you can't talk bad about a company you work for, you would get fired. I'm not talking about all that, even though they are all real-world restrictions of free speech with real-world consequences. Some are legal penalties, while others are private penalties. But let's talk about specific examples more prudent to the conversation. An ice cream company, Antonio Federici, was banned from posting their advertisement in the UK in September for offending Catholics. The ad showed a pregnant nun. Nuns don't get married or have sexual relations. And it had the line, immaculately conceived, and was to be posted in time for the Pope's visit. But the Advertising Standards Authority banned the ad, stating it mocked Roman Catholic beliefs. Another example where free speech was blocked. In July, German satire magazine Titanic was taken to court by Pope Benedict XVI for showing him on the magazine soiling himself. Also in Germany, Christian leaders protested a caricature depicting Jesus Christ on the cross and wanted it removed. These were all religious examples. Let's talk other examples. In August, pictures of Prince Harry were banned from all British media outlets because they depicted him nude. They were banned under invasion of privacy. Another example is that France banned paparazzi from posting nude pictures of Princess Kate, Prince William's wife. You think all these examples are exceptions because although they are from the free world, they are still outside the US? Don't worry, I got another great example which I'll tell you in a bit. But first, let's look at the second argument. Killing in video games is already offensive. Why don't we complain about that? Actually, people have complained about that and will continue to complain about it. But here's the clear difference. The video game is intended to be played, and the objective is to eliminate fictional characters or animated objects, nothing real, and its intent is for amusement and pure entertainment. The intent is not to offend. That's not the objective. The nature of the game is the gameplay. However, the insult in Modern Warfare 2 has no purpose of being placed, and whether it was intended to be offensive or not, it was an inconsiderate decision which did not respect a real population in the real world, nor their religious beliefs. It is completely out of context and didn't need to be in the game. It didn't add anything to the gameplay or plot other than insulting a group of people. If this was something that was targeted towards the gay, black, Christian, Semitic, or any other religious or racial community, it would not be accepted by that group. Muslims are not an exception. In fact, with regards to people being offended from killing in games, people made a huge deal about the airport mission in Modern Warfare 2, where you play as a terrorist killing innocent civilians as per the game's plot. People complained and wanted it removed from the game, naturally because of its sensitive topic and its relevance in today's society. Which leads to the third argument. How come we didn't take out that mission, but we took this map out? Isn't that more important? Again, there's a clear difference between this mission and a statement from a holy book over a toilet. That mission was to fulfill the plot of the game and not intended to make fun of or insult people who have been killed in the real world. It is intended to purely intensify the experience of the plot and make the decision harder on the player. It was not targeted towards any particular group. The insult to Muslims was, however, a direct insult to solely the Muslim belief and the Muslim community. It was not something to add to a plot or intensity of the game. It is insulting to place God's name in a bathroom, let alone on top of a filthy toilet, let alone in a time not too long ago where members of the army have displayed disrespect by flushing the Quran down a toilet. It's not socially sensitive. Secondly, the mission of the airport was restricted only to those who accepted to play it right from the beginning of the game. The player had to go through an agreement to play that level after being explained as to what it will include. So it was given the option of being banned. The insult on Favela, however, was something that most players would not even be aware of. Players were not notified of its presence as a warning, and it was so inconsiderately placed subtly that you won't realize its presence unless you paid attention or understood Arabic. Thirdly, in that mission, even if you choose to play it, you did not have to kill any innocent civilians unless you personally wanted to. Granted, you could argue that you can just avoid the map of Favela simply by not playing the game, and therefore basically not being insulted or not having to see that insulting picture frame. But that's exactly what was threatened by the Muslim community, that they will just quite simply not play the game, or any other Infinity Ward game, since they are displaying inconsideration for the respective religious beliefs. So what else do you want? Now to the fourth argument, which is it's just a video game. And that is exactly the point. I'm just playing a video game. Why do you need to add religion into it? Why do you need to add something not needed for the experience to be fun, which only disrespects a belief system? Why do I have to play a game while feeling disrespect to my belief directly and only hinder my experience in playing that game? Secondly, granted that video games in general can be offensive, hence why there's a rating system, it still doesn't justify disrespecting a belief system. And let me explain to you what I mean. For instance, there's no need to have in a game that has nothing to do with Nazis or Jews a sign which says Jews are cheap. Or a game that doesn't have anything to do with Christianity, a picture showing the depiction of Jesus Christ in an insulting manner. There's just no need for it. It's neither right nor moral. And what do you know? There's yet another example that people seem to overlook simply because it may mean something to them emotionally. Do you remember Medal of Honor being released in 2010? Because I do. Medal of Honor was criticized by military officials for having the Taliban as a playable team against the US Army. The game was banned from being sold in military bases. In other words, boycotted, because it was offensive to those in the US military. In response, EA removed the Taliban from being a playable character in the game because it was culturally insulting to the military, even though it was obviously not intended by the company. And this is something which made sense to the developers to add in the game because that's what the game is about, and it added to the experience. Now, if this is removed, then why would something which is directly insulting to another religion, has no purpose in being in the game, has no sense for gameplay, location, or plot, not be removed on the same grounds. I'm sure families of the US military appreciated the removal of the Taliban from the Medal of Honor, just as Muslims appreciated the removal of that insulting placement of the picture frame. Which leads to the fifth argument. Why didn't they take out noob tubes and explosives, yet they took Favela out? Now, if you say it's just a game, and it is just a game, why are you getting so worked up about the presence of noob tubes, Last Stand, Martyrdom, Ghost, overpowered guns, one-man army, and on in the game? And why does it cause you to break your controller, break your Xbox, break the game, throw it in the trash, and cause you to boycott the game completely while constantly complaining about it? You prefer boycotting a game for a superficial issue while criticizing someone else for boycotting that same game for a real, more worthy, and actually socially relevant issue which our society is going through? A hypocritical, if not more immature stance, if you ask me. I'm glad that Activision actually responded to this issue, although they should have just patched the map to remove these things without removing the map completely, as EA removed the Taliban but didn't remove the game completely. Although I was a huge fan of Favela and actually got my first nuke on Favela, I don't accept any disrespect when it comes to that. And if Infinity Ward, Call of Duty, or any other game developer was to intentionally disrespect my religion or another person's religion or another person's race, despite my love for playing video games ever since the age of 6, I will gladly and without any hesitation boycott those games, boycott that developer for the rest of my life, especially if they don't come back with an apology or a way to restitute the issue. I anticipate a lot of disagreements, but that's usually what happens when someone stands for the truth.